¿Cómo es? A ver. Voy a la ruedita. ¿Pero en qué? ¿En movimiento? ¿En combate? Ya sé, pero viste que primero en la ruedita está idioma y región. Abajo del idioma en región, movimiento. ¿En dónde? Sí. 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 Ah, sí. Opciones de juego adicionales. ¿Qué dónde? ¿Dónde es eso? Opciones de juego adicionales. ¿Dónde? Toca para buscar interactuar activado. Bueno, Nacho, poné listo, que si no, no nos entra.
Ah, sí, yo estoy haciendo directo,
Ok.
No, porque si no vamos a estar hablando. Sí, además cosas.
¿Pero vos nos escuchás en el chat del juego?
Cero personas. Yupi, lo que quiero.
No sé. ¿Y cuál es el botón ping? Hay un botón que se llama ping. Ay, burdo. Me agarró el COVID-19.
A la gran
¿Por qué no
pantalla.
puedo
¿Escenario
correr?
principal? ¿A dónde está
¿Ustedes
la gran
pueden
pantalla?
correr?
¿A
Yo
dónde dice
no.
la gran pantalla? Ah, ahí, a mí no me pone que como que no descubrí nada de ahí. Ahí no hay nada.
A mí no me deja correr. Literalmente no me deja correr.
Tengo topín porque estoy haciendo directo.
Amigo, ¿por qué no me deja correr?
¡Ping! Voy a aprovechar acá y voy a cambiarme la skin. ¿Cómo que no se puede bailar? La gran pantalla es ahí. Sí, sí se puede. Mirá cómo están haciendo esto. Ah, no, capaz que son los de compu. With the people.
¿Ya
¡Un aura!
empezó?
¡Hola, hermanito! No, no empezó. No se lo crean. Faltan 12 minutos.
A mí sí me deja
Che,
bailar.
mientras tanto, a ver qué se puede hacer acá. ¿Por qué no está cerca la cancha de fútbol?
¿Cuántos bananos hay, boludo? 4 bananas, 5 bananos.
Amigo, ¿cuántas bananas? Quiero
La
el
gente
primer
de acá también
asiento.
tenemos bananas.
Quiero el primer asiento para el mejor directo, dale. Quiero el mejor asiento.
Che.
Yo me meto acá.
Che, si yo abandono ahora el camuflaje, ¿me lo dan o no?
¿Qué camuflaje?
El camuflaje ese.
No, te lo dan en otro evento. El 31 ya hay otro evento.
Ah, ahora no te dan un camuflaje.
No, el 31.
Entonces, ¿para qué lo estoy viendo?
No sé, como quieran. Si quieren, abandonan. Sí, yo también. A mí me da curiosidad.
Porque, ya sé, ya sé.
Porque no hay para qué. Que no. A ver. A ver. Quiero ver la banana. Ya, ya, ya. No, está re azul,
Oye,
amigo.
esto está rebugueado. Hay unos...
¡Tiene un arma! ¿Qué habrá dentro de la skin? No. Lo descubriremos en el siguiente episodio de...
Vengan a ver esto. No, está rebugueado esto. Me dan una petición de amistad MNFG.
Amigo, a mí
no sé
también.
cuánto.
A mí
Es un
también.
nombre re raro.
Mira, mira, ahí te digo.
MNFG, no sé
Sí,
qué.
MMFFFGMBFGJNFG.
Mal, a mí también.
Aceptar.
¿Se la aceptás?
No, se la acepté a Tommy.
MNFMFGMMB.
¿Eh? ¿What? ¿Dice que está volando? ¡Re hacker! Los descubriremos en el próximo episodio de Encuentra Cazador de Hackers. Desmonetización. Ña, 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 ña. También en coca like. A ver. ¡Para! ¡Empiezan en 1! ¡Ahí me ponen 10! ¡9! ¡8! ¡7! ¡6! ¡5!
¿A dónde?
7 3 2 1. ¡Te la comiste, Tommy! Mentira, no está hablando nadie. Está hablando Alberto Fernández.
Oja.
Hola.
Hola.
Los descubriremos en el próximo episodio. Midas ha sido asesinado. Quiero más.
Faltan 5. Ah, ahí lo pone. 4:54.
¡Eh!
Show starting. Yo listo, me voy a la mierda, lo voy a picar.
Hasta la próxima. Hasta la próxima. ¿Me da tiempo para tirarme del mar? Chicos, estoy muerto. Chicos, ¿cómo hago para subir? Una chica con anteojos y pelo violeta.
Tommy, esa es la aura, esa la captura que te mandé es de la aura. Mal.
¿Cuándo comienza? Decime que me perdí.
Los espectáculos. Gosterini vas la mala. El espectáculo comienza en 3.
Che, ¿cómo te pusiste ahí?
El espectáculo comienza en 3.
¡Me completé una misión! ¡Usa la tirolina!
No me jodas que te completas una misión acá.
The show begin in... Show starts in... El espectáculo encierra Costerín vas la malina. El espectáculo comenzará. No entiendo para qué lo ponen. Poxatec Bokazu. Amigo, alto humano. Che, no sé ni para qué uno se metió ahí. Dale, ¿cuánto falta? Tommy, ¿te podés correr?
¡Mira dónde estoy! ¡Hola! Miren dónde estoy.
No, amigo, re. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Se la recomió.
Yo me la recomí, boludo.
El espectáculo comienza en...
Van al mismo lugar.
No entramos, somos tan gordos que ni entras.
Vale, es verdad. ¡Ja! ¡Tomen! Y yo de acá no me muevo.
Pará, mate, no veo nada. Encima estoy haciendo directo. Veo más la Reconexfer que la pantalla. Ya, ni me ve no me ve ni mi mamá me está viendo.
1 minuto exacto. Ahí está.
Lo malo es que no se puede bailar. Quería bailar con el conejo de allá al frente, mirá, de allá atrás. El conejo ya.
No, sí, van a hablar en inglés. Güey, yo me paso el chat del juego para escuchar mejor el juego.
Mal, sí, es verdad. Ah, no.
Sí, es verdad.
¡Se hizo de día! ¡No, me caí!
Ya, era broma, se la recomieron. ¡20 segundos!
¡10 de noche! 5, 4, 3.
¿Quién es, boludo, el del piano ese? Tommy se perdió la primera parte.
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie Champion. Welcome to the. So today we are having a very candid conversation with athletes and artists who want to make sure that you use your voice to vote. Voting is your voice. So we have so many different issues that are happening in this country. It's really truly unprecedented times. So I'm looking forward to these conversations. I think you'll be educated as well as entertained, but most importantly informed. We have morethanvote.org, whenweallvote.org, and fairfight.com. Those resources are imperative as we try to change our country. There's no way that we can talk about hip hop, or even the fact that we want to talk about activism. Black voter suppression without bringing in this guy straight from Fort Worth, Texas. We were talking about Bun B. He is an activist, a scholar, and an all-around gentleman. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Bun, I don't want to start heavy, but I guess I have to because that's where we are in the world today. It's heavy as hell. And when you think about what needs to happen in this country in terms of change, what's the first thing that you think of?
Equality. That's pretty much the first thing that comes to mind, right? Black people need to be seen as equals in this world. You know, we had to fight just to be recognized as a full citizen in this country and not 3/5.
The voters now seeing what we've known for so long in the culture and in the community. The one way we can fight is obviously voting. Talk to me about what voting means to you.
I hear people all the time talk about voting doesn't matter and that voting doesn't make a difference. If that's true, why do they work so hard to suppress the black vote? Because they understand the power of the vote. And so it's time that black people collectively also understand the power of their vote. And not just on a national level, because a lot of times we only have this conversation every 4 years. People need to be very much involved in their local politics. They need to understand who their elected officials are, where they stand on issues that affect you. And you need to use your vote to either support the ones that care about you and your condition or to elect people who do. A newer initiative that we're dealing with is educating felons, right? So in the state of Texas, if you're a felon, right, if you've been to jail or to prison, and but you're no longer on probation or parole, you have the right to register to vote. Another thing that was just brought to my attention is an initiative called Orange, which is happening not just in Houston, but all over the country. If you're in jail currently during pretrial, but you have not been convicted, like you're still in jail waiting to for your day in court, you are still eligible to vote.
And you said something so key. They work so hard to hope that we stay uninformed, but more importantly, to suppress the black vote. If you could do one thing with this message that we're trying to send today about how important voting is, what type of images would you like for people to understand and see when they go to these polls and vote or when they cast their ballots?
I think the images that we've all seen, you know what I'm saying, for decades in this country, if not centuries in this country, we've seen black people oppressed, we've seen black people attacked. So every time you look back and you see those old black and white images of people of color being attacked by dogs and people of color being sprayed with hoses, that's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were just fighting for a chance to vote. People like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Malcolm X, these people died to help us um, be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city are not open to police reform, are not open to having a conversation about defunding the police, are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, and racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter. who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, vote them out. It's that simple. Just vote them out. We don't have enough time to sit around and hope that people change their mind.
Yeah, Bumpy, you point out something so important. We have the power, and that is in our vote. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that the chosen brutality for people to say, "Oh my God, Black people are still oppressed in this country," and it is not?
I think it's twofold, Carrie. In so many different encounters between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof of what happened in the interaction. And so what happens is in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone was at home, social media platform, everywhere you turn, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that this man did nothing to deserve what happened.
That's right. I think so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it, and he didn't have to lose his life. I think that you touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now defunding the police. That has been such a huge conversation, but there's so many misconceptions around defunding and dismantling. If you will, educate the audience.
All right, so most people, when they hear the term defund the police, they tend to think of, oh, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing could be further from the point. Defunding the police means that in certain communities, even Houston, take for example, we had over $1 billion allocated to our police force. Now, what is that money being used for? Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shields, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget, right? So why would the people want to supply the police with the means to oppress them? If the police are concerned about the situations in certain communities with a higher crime rate, well, higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be a less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure that we are holding our leaders accountable. Talk to me about some of the other projects that you're working on.
Well, right now, obviously, being a part of More Than a Vote is essential. We're dealing with primaries in this country right now, and we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are tired, they're angry, they're concerned, and they want information and they want action. And so we want to make sure that we give them the right information and lead them in the right direction. And we thank the people that do not look like us for standing with us right now, because it's very
Amen.
important that people who aren't black be involved, because if black people could have gotten rid of racism, we would have done it hundreds of years ago. And so I'm trying to use my voice and my platform just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can go to enact change in their community. People need to know about how their city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way that they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money of their
And
community
Bun,
needs to be allocated.
and Bubby, even a step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions. Like, people act like they leave it up to somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board. It's not hard to be a part of the city council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your town is, you could be a mayor. It's the power is with the people, and we need to just know that that's happening.
Absolutely. And it's always been with the people. You know, if you look at Trayvon Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton, right? She felt that there was a system of racism and a system of oppression that led to her son's death. And so what did she do? She ran for city council and she was elected to city council. Our own former president, 44, Barack Obama, right? Started in the community as an activist, ran for an elected position, became senator, ran for another elected position, and became president of the United States. So don't think that you can't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of power. Your voice is enough to make a difference.
Amen. I feel like I need to go out and run for something. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. When I talk to my brothers, I have to ask you, as a black man, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a very strong relationship with God, so prayer definitely works for me. I have children and grandchildren who are watching me, who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now, and that's really what matters, The change starts at home, so as long as you have a support system that believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing, you have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help you. So you can go to places like morethanavote.org. There are many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and they will put you with groups of people that feel like you, that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
We're stronger together. People have been saying it, but that has much more meaning now that we are in our movement, not just this moment. Bumby, it has been an education, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Keep up the good fight.
Yeah, la.
So our next guest, I have to admit, I'm a fan, but there are so many different people that we could talk to, and I thought it was so imperative that we speak to her. You know her as Molly from the huge, successful show Insecure, HBO's Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her Nigerian roots, and she's an amazing podcaster. Let's welcome in Yvonne Orji, everyone. You have such a beautiful way of making things funny, giving us our medicine with some candy, right? The humor and cooking. You bring all of that to your space. And right now, as you look across this country and how everyone is so broken and so upset, if it's not social injustice, it's the pandemic, it's depression, it's unemployment, the list goes on and on. How are you doing, quite frankly?
I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard but necessary, that will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but no, I think I personally think that God put all of us on a global timeout. Like we just, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeouts, because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we're still in the principal's office hoping and wishing we can come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from this season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so uh, to actually be doing. We're busy doing other stuff, but we got work that we need to do on the inside. And I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang, I thought I was gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And this guy's like, nah, we got work to do.
You know what? And I think that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's demanding that we be better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But like, no, seriously, sit down and let's reevaluate some things. Let us unearth and shake up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves, within our nation. I think America is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one, and I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, oh, I was on the subway for an hour, so I didn't miss that thing that happened. No, everybody was home. Everybody, was watching when George Floyd died, and everybody, no one could hide it. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper called the cops. Like, this is a time where it's like, oh, we can't pretend it away. We can't excuse it away. No, 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 no. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And globally, it's like, hey, we were going business as usual, but it ain't usual no more. Like that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. And so right now we're sitting with we're getting we're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
The minorities, we've been comfortable with being uncomfortable because that to me explains just the existence for whatever we want to do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves one of the few or one of the first. And that's a lonely road. When you look at and when you talk about this global timeout, everybody had to pay attention to Amy Cooper. Everyone had to pay attention to George Floyd. How is that helping us as a people, as a country during our global timeout?
I think, well, one, we're not minorities, Carrie. You already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us. It's like the same way of saying like black on black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding,
Yeah, right.
right? It's all
Yeah,
branding.
you're right. You're
And it's
right.
like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, well then let's brand white on white violence. Like I watched Investigation Discovery. Ain't too many of us being featured. So I just even like, but to answer your question, what does that do? I think what everyone expected is what has happened in the past when the world was still open, right? In that, okay, you had every black
Para.
from Trayvon Martin to Castillo to Sandra Bland. You had
Esto.
all of these lives
Toby,
lost,
Toby, Toby, mira esto.
and black people made some noise.
Toby, Toby,
We rioted, we
míralo.
we got
Güey,
out in the street,
güey, en la
we started the
pantalla estoy
Black
viendo
Lives
el
Matter
culo de,
movement, all of those things,
de la
and then
skin de Tommy.
white people kind of just like, oh, let's give them something, and then it's just like, is it over? It's like Oscar is so black. Okay, okay, good. We gave some Oscars. Are we good now? Like, are we
¿Qué
even?
grupo avanzado?
And it's just like, oh no, 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 no. This is not about like a band-aid. It's like, yo, we might have to amputate the
Hay
leg,
algunos que ya se aburrieron
but
y se
it's all right
fueron
because
ahí.
by amputating the leg, we're gonna save the
Hay
body.
algunos que
And
ni
so I
siquiera
think
están
that's
viendo.
what's
Hay uno
happening
que
now. Like
se
America is
equivocaban y entraron en
realizing,
el
like, oh,
escenario
everyone's
principal.
making a little bit of noise. Like the protests are still out. The
Sí,
the
yo también.
conversations are still being had. The change is still being demanded. And I think they're seeing, oh, this is not going
Tipo, yo
away.
pensé que iba a ser
And
una
no, it's not,
película.
because we need systematic change.
What
Ah,
a
esa película.
beautiful way to explore what is happening and describe our
El tema
country.
es que
We might
encima
have
está
to
en
amputate the
inglés.
leg, but that's to save the body. That's what's happening right now. That's beautiful, Yvonne. And
Claro,
to
y
that end,
además
I
no me
have to ask
importa
you this
tanto.
because the way that we do that, we use our voice. And our
O
voice right
sea,
now in this world, in this
digo
country, is
que,
a
o sea,
vote.
no me interesa
And
tanto.
everyone talks about voting and how important it is, but I feel
Sí,
like more
sí.
than ever we understand that it's not just about voting every 4 years for the man in office. It's about your local elections. It's about the mayor. It is about the district attorney, the people who have the power to bring charges against police if police brutality is an issue in your community. If you care about your school district, you can run for the school board. I ask this of you, right? Your parents are from Nigeria. You are Nigerian. You talk about that very lovingly. What does voting mean for you?
I think voting is power. I remember, I became a naturalized citizen back in the 90s when, because I was still a minor when
Sí,
my
yo ya
mom
sabía
naturalized, and
eso.
so we were able to do it under her. And just even that power of like, we are
Yo ya
American
sabía
citizens, and all the actions that
desde
we have, like
antes
being
de empezar este
one
mes.
of those actors in those
Yo ya
actions of
sabía de esa
power being
banda, desde
voting,
el
it's a big deal.
anteúltimo
It's a
evento.
big deal because not only do we have the opportunity to be in this country, but now we can be of the country. We can be of the system. We can be of the rules. We can be of what it actually affords. But I think going back to your earlier comment about just the setup of systems, I think we are done a disservice, either it's schools or whatever it is. And I'm not putting teachers on blast. I think teachers do a phenomenal job, but for some reason, we do not, and give them all the raises. I know too many parents who are like, this child of mine, I do love them, but hey, who, what can I do
Mal,
for
boludo.
them? And I do think that there is
Prefiero
a
escuchar todo el día
disservice done because, again, when we
me
talk
parto
about this
que escuchar esa
we
risa,
talk about every
boludo.
4 years. It's important to vote for the presidency. We don't realize, like, oh snap, we actually can vote
Mal.
about like how much our libraries get. It's like small things like that, but they make a big difference.
When you think of voter suppression in this country, what does it look like?
It's the
Yo
system.
la
When we talk
reconecto,
about voter suppression, we also talk about
me
systematic
tapa
racism,
toda la
right?
pantalla.
It's all the systems that set up,
Se me
and we've
acaba de poner un
normalized.
ingeniero en la
Okay,
cara, boludo.
maybe your job will give you a half day, or maybe you'll be able to get this luxury. It shouldn't be a luxury. It should be built into the system. It should be built into the fabric of how we vote. But maybe you'll be able to get this luxury in order to enable you to go vote. Think about everything disenfranchised, marginalized Black person has to endure in a day. So in a day, you need to get to work. If something happens to your car, if something happens to your child care, if something happens to, there's so many factors along the way that can send you into a tailspin as an American. And then you add on as a person of color. If you're just trying to get to vote, and you already have to go through all of these hurdles and hoops in your everyday life, imagine the one day when your voice really is supposed to matter the most in this country. But then you also see all the times that you tried to have your voice matter, and then it's been shut down, repressed, told it doesn't matter. And then you're kind of like, what's the point?
How do we keep hope though? If I'm watching this right now, how do we as a people stay hopeful? How do we believe in the promise that these quote unquote forefathers have given us?
Because have you met black people? By default, like it's just in our DNA. Like we're just like if we haven't been broken
Ay,
down
amigo.
through, be it through slavery, through
Give it to me.
through
Give it to me.
colonization, through segregation, through
Veo la cara
I
de
mean,
Tenetina ahí.
the history of black people in this country is at one point we were 3/5 people.
Como que,
At one point,
That was a written law.
uy,
And look at us now. We are whole. We are black girl magic. We are black boy joy. We are, you know what I'm saying? What I think about in terms of giving us hope, right? We're making a lot of people nervous right now, Carrie. We're making a lot of people
Ben.
nervous right now because they're like, dang, we put all these obstacles in their way, and these jokers are resilient. But that should give us hope. That should give us hope that like we can't stop. I went to the school of Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag bye Harlem shaking it right now. Can't stop, won't stop. And I just think that's our
se
mantra. We
ríe.
can't stop voting and we won't stop voting. We can't stop marching and we won't stop marching. We can't stop thriving and we won't stop
Ay,
thriving.
amigo.
To that end, because you led me directly there, I've been asking everyone who has appeared on this platform, what does activism look like? And I feel like back in the day, we had an idea. Yes, it is marching. Yes, it is protesting. Yes, it is speaking out against things that we feel are not right or unjust. But talk to me about what activism looks like for Yvonne Worship.
Listen, activism,
Me
I
pregunto
think the
si van a
beauty of
estar todo el
activism
evento
is
hablando
that
de
it
esto
has many
o
faces,
si va a
right?
haber, no
You're
sé,
going to have
otra
the people on
cosa.
the front lines. Like, you know what? Martin Luther King marched,
Mal,
but
viste,
there were
si
a
no
lot
re
of women who
aburrido.
were in the homes like, hey, BT Dubs, when they come back, this is how we support all the people who are marching on the front lines. And we're going to be here doing what we know to do best here. And you know what? Somebody needs to bail
Yo
them out
ando,
of
no.
jail so now we need to be in the community, getting money or
Con
whatever
todo
it
lo
is.
que,
So it's like everybody has a position to play. And so play your position like a shortstop, bro. So whoever you are and whatever you do, play your position. So activism for
no,
me
yo
looks
ando,
like,
no.
you know what? I'm not the one that's built to be on the front line, but you know what? My pockets go deep, so I'm gonna support the people on the front line. You know, I'm a comedian. Black joy is a form of activism.
There's always a call for entertainers or celebrities that have the platform to do something. Why aren't you speaking out? I'm not a believer in thinking that it's mandatory. Like you said, everyone can be an activist and be activated in different ways. But talk to me about the connection. Talk to me about the marginalization in your world and how you feel like it even inspires you to say more and use your platform to do more.
Beneath the surface of what we do, like Niecy Nash says, it's the the who, right? The who is the person
Yo
who
ya
says,
abandoné.
"Hey, let me call this out."
Mira,
Either
mentira.
blind racism in terms of overt racism, in terms of ways that we can be better, in terms of ways that we can actually be more uplifting to the community that you may not even realize that you're serving.
Before I let you go, talk to me about the urgency, in your opinion, for people to vote, our people to get out and vote this coming election.
Yeah, I mean, guys, nine, nine.
No, yo
If
no
you
voy.
think you're tired now, I'm telling you right now, we cannot take this sitting down. We can't take this joking. I understand that it may be hard to figure out who to vote for. We got to vote for our families. We got to vote for our legacies. We got to vote for
Siempre
continued
atrás, ¿qué
progress.
pasa?
We have to vote for
Güey,
upward
es re
mobility.
aburrido.
We have to vote for equality in a way that is
Yo dejo de
long
ver el evento.
lasting. And if we succeeded
Viste,
before, we can do it again. You talk about the hope.
re aburrido.
This
No,
is the
no hay
time.
nada.
This is not the time to give up. This is not the time
¿A
to
dónde?
pretend in
¿Dónde
a way
estás
that we
vos?
haven't make progress we have.
¿Dónde
There's
coño
so much
estás?
more to be done.
Ah, se
And you know what?
puede.
We might have to get to a point where we pass the baton to our children and our
Ah,
children's children,
mejor.
but we still have work
Puede,
to
pero
do
se
now,
ve
and
todo
that's
al
exciting.
revés.
Fun,
Y
gorgeous.
alguien.
You are everything. You are polished, but you are not white.
Y aún así hay un palo ahí.
HBO's Insecure. You are an amazing podcaster, Jesus and Joa. Shout out to Lovey. And then we also have movies. Like you, the world, you're a model, a cover model. Also, wait, don't let me forget your hugely successful stand-up comedy special on HBO. Girl, you're doing it all. And I am so grateful. You are truly the dream, not just the American dream. You're the black girl, brown girl, do it all dream, the immigrant
Está
dream,
aburrido
everything.
verla ahí, man.
Beautiful, beautiful soul. I really, really mean that.
Y yo me callo, soy un
Ladies and
pelotudo.
gentlemen, nothing but the best and excellence personified. Thank you so much.
I love you so much, Mama. Mwah.
Ah, este es el que quería, este es el que quería.
Yeah, la la.
Este es el que quería que...
Yeah, abuela.
Political unrest and social injustice. We've seen so much happen in that city, and we've also
No
seen
quiero
so much
agregar.
come from that city, including one of our very own founding fathers of the civil rights movement, and that's Martin Luther King Jr. But right now, we want to welcome in someone who has used his platform to talk about voting, to talk about racial injustice, and how he's trying to help. Atlanta's very own Russ joins us now in We the People. Russ, I'm not going to fan out and tell you
Igual, de Argentina el tipo.
that I listen to repeat on yours. We're going to get to the topic at hand. So we got to talk about, recently you did an interview where you shared your outlook on culture and music, and you also were very candid about the fact that you have a privilege and that is necessary for you to
Yeah.
tell everybody about what that means.
Yo quiero que ganen los negros.
It's very obvious I'm white and I'm in black culture and
No,
I'm
que se sea
benefiting
blanco.
financially off of it. So I feel like if you're a white person financially benefiting off of black culture, you have to put finances back into black culture. It's just that simple. The screenshots with your feelings, it just comes off like fake empathy because it comes off very dismissive and very oh, that sucks for y'all, but anyway, back to what I was doing.
Have you felt that way always, or is it now because of the time of where we are in this country?
I've
Listo,
always
yo me
had the
fui a ver
feeling.
la
I think
ropa.
now it's just obviously elevated. It's a new level and there's new, it's
Sí,
to the
porque
point now
mal,
where
¿te acordás?
you can't,
Que vos
first of all, you
decías
can't
que
not
todos los
say
negros
anything.
tenían
Second
el
of all, though,
labio
I just think saying something
gigante.
is nothing. I think, if you have the ability to put money back into a culture that
Un
you're
poco.
financially benefiting from, have the ability to, you should.
It's interesting that you talk about it in that
Es el mejor evento del mundo este y el más divertido.
it's hard to talk about.
Yo me voy a quedar dormido.
If you're white and you're in the black culture, people just feel as if they can't talk about it. They feel
Qué boludo. Mira que ejercicio tan bueno.
Interacting with people when they want to talk to you about social injustice, police brutality, what's going on in this country right now?
Well, first of all, picking and choosing whether you want to be silent or not about race, that's a privilege in and of itself. But no, I mean, I try to just do my best to listen to the black people around me and the educated black people I have in my life. So I do my best to not act like I have all the answers for everything, especially in a culture that I'm not from. But that's why when we decided to raise the money for Black Lives Matter organizations, we when we raised 500,000, we got on the phone with some of the women who started Black Lives Matter. I got on the phone with Tamika Mallory. I was on the phone with Karen Civil and talking with my friends to make sure the money went to like the correct places, and people who really need it. It's just about listening. That's all. It's about listening.
Sí, vos lo tenés.
Let's talk about that for a moment because the way
No,
I
yo
think of
no.
activism.
Puta. Yo soy corto la chota. Yo me cortaría la chota si fuera vos.
But what about being an activist in the way which you have decided to do? What inspired you?
Igual re aburrido, boludo.
You said you raised money for Black Lives Matter. What did you do?
Más divertido. Qué
Triste.
So for me, it was 3 years ago. I had like a string of
Encima,
festivals,
boludo, yo no entiendo
and I
nada.
decided that I was gonna wear T-shirts with a message on them because I
Yo si
figured
fuera Santi, boludo, no voy bien
what
a
better
la
time to use a
conferencia porque
platform
no
in
escucho
front of,
nada.
a bunch of people. So one of the T-shirts I wore was, if you want to change the system, speak up, white silence is pro-racism, the whole thing. And it didn't really like it kind of got swept under the rug back then.
Posta.
But you know, when all this stuff started happening again, and it's been happening, the police brutality against innocent black people, I was like, man, I'm not the biggest artist in the world, and I certainly don't have the most white fans in the world,
Bueno,
but
yo para
I
eso
got a good
no voy
amount
a
of
jugar
people that I can definitely
partidas
mobilize and turn
antes que
into
ver
some
esto.
money, and I know they're down for the and
Yo
outspoken
me voy
anyway.
a jugar a la
So
Hello Kitty
how am I
antes
going to
que
be in
esto.
black culture and not be outspoken about racism?
And then I gotta ask you this because you grew up in Atlanta, so that gives you a
¿A
heads
quién me
up
están llamando?
for so many people because you're in the crux of that beautiful black
Y
city
la,
where there's
en
so
vez de
many
estar la tuya
wonderful black
también.
leaders, home of so much great music and things that speak to our culture right now. And we are really, really getting our word out, especially with this platform today, and saying that we must use our voice to vote. Talk to me about what the importance of voting for you in this upcoming election.
Yeah, so you know, full transparency, I had never voted before, ever. And because you know, I was one of those people who was like,
Nunca
my
votó
vote
el
doesn't matter,
blanco.
and you know,
¿Qué grupo
and I don't know,
avanzado?
maybe it's because I was younger, maybe it's because I really thought that, or I don't know, but I just think that it's got
¿Qué
to,
grupo
you
avanzado?
know, now this is a bit of a privilege to say it's got to a breaking point
Ah, me pone
for me
grupo
because obviously
avanzado,
it's been
15.000.
past the breaking point for black people, but I think that as a
Desplazando grupo en
whole,
15 minutos.
you know, the young people need to get out and vote because we're the
¿Qué es eso?
ones that never show up. You know what I mean? We never show up to vote, but you know, we're the future. So it's
El
like,
blanco
look, we
nunca
gotta go
votó.
out there and vote, and then whatever happens, happens. But at least we did our part.
El blanco nunca
You
votó.
gotta do your part.
You're very candid in saying that you just decided to vote, and I think there's a
Ma, tiene razón, es re aburrido esto.
your fans saying
No.
because of you I'm voting.
Che, abandonamos.
No sé, es que yo lo quiero grabar para YouTube.
Why in this moment is it important for you to vote, and what hits your spirit? To
Como
say,
quieran,
yes,
¿ustedes
this is
quieren o no?
Honestly, because
Dale,
I
dale.
think that George
No,
Floyd
viste, no me gusta.
really
Para esto,
woke up a lot of people who, including myself, who I was vocal and outspoken about racism. I put it in my lyrics. I put
Bueno,
it
yo
on my
abandono.
t-shirts. I would talk about it.
Una galaxia hay acá.
Like, you know, I was vocal about
¿Dónde?
it.
Posta.
But that
¿Dónde
video,
estás?
in that moment,
No sé dónde se fue ahora, pero acá está en la tirolina.
just kind of was like, all right, like words are simply not.
Ah, no,
enough
era
anymore. You gotta
una
do
Zapotrión.
something, whether it's
Zapotriones, sí.
raising money, whether it's voting or all
Zapotrión.
the above. Like we got to do something, you know. And
Bueno, me ayuda a
I'm
abandonar.
ashamed that it took that for me to be like, I need to raise money.
A mí me
and I need
encanta
to vote. You know,
abandonar
it's a
en los
shame.
eventos
And I don't know,
más
it just-
aburridos como
I
este.
guess it snapped a bunch of people out of it. You know? And even if you were vocal and it's it's time to just stop talking about it.
A mí me mandan
You know, and it's
pictures,
been
está
time for
todo,
that, but
boludo.
like I said, you know, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to actually really be about it, but I'm here now.
Yes, we all know that this is going to be your first time voting. Tell me what that
Yeah.
experience is going to be like for you in terms of what you're excited about.
You know what it's gonna do for me? It's gonna let me know that I'm contributing to something bigger than myself.
No, yo me voy bien.
Where my mouth is, and I'm being about it because you know for so long, and I know
Yo
I'm not
también
alone,
quiero jugar, güey.
standing on the outside
Te
and just
choco, te
screaming
choco.
about this and that and this should change.
Te choco, te
It's like,
choco.
alright, but did you
No, me
you
chocaron.
know? And so I'm, you know, I know
Nacho, ¿vos cómo no
gonna
te
feel good to know
caíste?
that
No me
I
caí.
played a small role. You know? And that's the problem. I think the mentality of like
Ay, voy a
vote
llegar
doesn't
antes que
matter
Tommy.
needs to be
Llego antes que
changed.
Tommy.
My vote, albeit small,
Me tiró.
does matter. It's a
Me
role.
tiró.
No, me
I play
tiraron.
my part and you play your
Qué
part,
puta,
and
boludo, me
she
tiró.
plays their part.
Me tiró
Then we make a
una
difference,
secuaz negra.
You know, it'll feel. I have a feeling it's gonna feel very, very bigger than me. I mean, I think when you realize that giving actually feels better than
Esa,
receiving,
Nacho,
that's when
pasaste
you
de
start
largo.
wanting to be a part
Esa,
of it.
pasaron de largo.
Voting is
Esa.
a easy way to do
No.
it, you know?
How much is given with this
Ya estamos los dos al mismo tiempo.
platform? We are so
Ah,
grateful
toma.
No me caí.
Esa.
community activists,
cosa.
Appreciate you.
Estoy saltando a todo yo, literal,
Thank you, I
boludo.
appreciate
Yo no estoy soldando a nadie.
¡Esta! ¡Ay, me tiraron! ¡Ah, se mamó!
¡No, me tiraron!
So cities like
¡No, me caí, boludo!
A mí no sabía que era tan
Me
divertido jugar con la tirolina.
we're talking about
Mal, yo tampoco.
teen and systemic racism as well as police brutality and what we can do in this country. Again, we're continuing our conversation. Letting you know
se
that
mamó!
your voice is your vote and your vote is your voice. We can change where we are in this country. Currently, I'd like to welcome in Chicago Cubs right
¡Esa! ¡Lo salté a los dos! ¡Esa! Tommy, 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 te voy a chocar. ¡Esa no!
metropolitan area of Atlanta, more specifically McDonough. Let's be technical. And you
¡Me lo salté! ¡Me lo salté! Oh, no.
in terms of what our country's been experiencing. Alex,
¡Soy buenardo con la tira!
¡No, me tiraron!
¡Oh, me volví a subir yo! No entiendo cómo hago porque me caigo para abajo, ¿entiendes? O sea, me caigo para abajo y como que me vuelvo a subir pero muy abajo.
To action. We've had multiple police brutality situations. We've had people protesting.
Yo le spameo.
But I really realized that I
Yo le
could be a part of the
spameo.
process. Make sure that doesn't get lost and all the chaos going on. Person who cares about everyone involved.
No lo tiré.
who cares about everyone involved, which leads us to more than a vote. It is
El apio,
black
boludo.
athletes and artists. You are talk to me about why that's
Tommy nunca me tira a mí.
of that collective.
To me personally, it's important to be a part of that because, some
Tommy nunca me tira a mí, boludo. Yo siempre lo tiro a él.
not be more involved in voting, but I can't any longer use baseball
Lo tiré.
as an excuse not to get educated.
Un truquito que no te lo voy a decir. Un truquito que no te lo voy a decir.
Ja, tiré uno.
Posta, tengo un truco. Voy a apretar muchas veces cuadrado. No lo sé. Lo sé si no, no le sale entonces. Sí.
I think for the first time, people
No, me mamé.
white teammates were
Tanto tiempo que estaba. Jaja, se mamó.
like, this is how we go about doing it. And to me right now, social media, athletes speaking up, and speaking up, like we're trying to do it more than a vote.
You said something I thought was so key because covering sports for so long, I know
Boludo.
specifically
No, que me tiró.
talk about how they
Mi
feel.
primo se recae siempre, boludo.
In a very healthy way.
Mi primo es el más malo de las
You said you
tirolines.
all were afraid. Use that word and whatever.
Ay, hay que ser boludo.
Team, there were 68 of us total. And then
¡Ay, lo tiré! ¡No, me tiraron a mí!
Tommy siempre se cae, boludo. ¡Ay, se cayó!
which is on.
Tommy son,
There are many of us.
son muy malos, Tommy, para las tirolinas.
Not always in a negative way.
Tommy siempre.
To get to this point, you have to move a certain way. You got to be careful with
Mal.
You can't ruffle feathers. You can't come off in any way. You know, much like other black entertainers, much like yourself, probably having to live through
Tommy, cállate. No, me caí yo.
Y lo tiré mate.
Toma, tomala. Ahí tenés.
because we can't be quiet anymore.
That is
Tomala, ahí tenés. Ocho.
but not heard. That is an expression that a lot of black folks can relate to.
Se
in whatever
cayó.
aspect
Me veo muy
professionalism that
manco a
they
esto.
experience, especially
Para vos, porque no te veo jugar.
socialization that we have.
Mira cómo me lo paso a todos.
No, te estoy pasando yo. ¡No!
Long, I
Se
felt
cae.
that
Ah, se mamó.
surface that so many of us who were in whatever positions we were, who had platforms, were tired of pretending, looking
Ah,
the
se
way,
mamó.
spending so much time making others comfortable while we were uncomfortable.
¡Paren de tirarme! ¿Quién soy yo?
The type of movement that is sustainable,
Soy yo, voy para.
or is it just for a time?
No, it takes everyone joining in on the conversation. And right now, I feel like whatever there's little things possible.
Nacho, vení.
¡Uy! ¡Que tiré casi todo!
Uy, ¿qué pasó? Sí, ¿estás abandono, no? Ok, yo abandono. Yo abandono, listo. Al fin alguien abandona.
Bueno, chicos. Acá terminó el directo.